It is without question that my name should never be uttered in the same sentence as the likes of It's Ken FPV or Dodd FPV. Not only are they amazing pilots, but they're also amazing frame designers as well. They have created their own company called It's FPV and released their own 5-inch quad frame called the Era. Today, what I'm going to do is give you an overview of this frame. We're going to take a look at it, we're going to put it together, and then I'm going to share with you my thoughts, having spent a bit of time with it. And we're also going to talk about some of their other products as well, including their own range of motors in partnership with T-Motor. Now, just to be crystal clear, before we get into this, It's FPV did reach out to me. They did send me this frame over for free to take a look at. In fact, they sent me 2 frames and 2 full sets of motors to allow me to put a quad together. However, they have not paid me to make this video. They have not seen this video before it's been published. And as always, my thoughts are entirely my own. Anyway, let's get on with it and let's take a look at what this frame is all about. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a little bit of a look at what comes in the kit, and then we will jump over to a pre-made frame that I've already put together. They did very kindly send me over 2 versions of this. Now, the 2 versions that I've got are in 2 different colors. You can get it in gray on the front end, or you can get it in orange, like the kit that you see here. Now, this drone is similar to other things that we've seen on the market, but not identical, but it does have some very unique features. One of them being that they say it is up to 55% stronger carbon fiber than a typical FPV frame, but it also has something very unusual, and that is this here, which is a super durable nylon front camera cage. Now, I'm going to get this out first to show you, because this is unlike anything that I've seen on another frame I can think of at the very least. It is this molded nylon piece. You have your camera mount in the front here, which takes TPU or silicon mounts at the side for holding the camera. It has an integrated connection up top here for an action camera mount. I do have one of them here, which I'll talk about in a minute. It is a single fixture, so it is a quick swappable option, and it offers just a crazy amount of stiffness and strength at the front of the frame. Because it is nylon, it's just insanely strong. You can actually feel it when you're touching it, and then we'll take a look at that a little bit more in a minute. Now, the frame kit itself obviously comes with everything that you expect to find in a modern frame. So you get some stickers, because you can't have a frame without stickers. We have our carbon fiber arms, which we'll take a look at in a second. We have our hardware fixing kit, as well as some TPU parts, which is great to see. We have our battery straps. Now, they do say that these are nylon Kevlar battery straps, which again is going to offer a huge amount of strength and rigidity. There's 2 of them in the kit. We then have some accessories. So we've got some protection for our arms, and then we've got our wire protectors there. Bit different to the usual ones you'd see that you'd stick on a frame. So nice. We have 2 battery pads, which is very nice to see. They look like the sticky ones as well. Okay, we'll take a look at them a little bit more in a minute. And then we have the rest of the parts of the frame. So if I just pop that back there, we've got our top plate, we've got our mid plate, which is this one here, and then we've got our bottom plate. Now, what we're going to do is just take a look at the sizing and the thickness of the carbon fibers first of all. So if we get the bottom 2 pieces out first, there's our bottom plate and our mid plate. So our mid plate has both a 20 by 20 and a 30 by 30 mounting pattern. You do have inserts that go into these. They are pressed inserts. They're not fitted as standard. They are included with the kit here, so you will need to pull them in with the screws when you put the frame together. Not difficult to do. Again, I'll talk about that when we look at the full frame in a second. You've then got your top plate here, which is shorter than your typical top plate because it's not going all the way to the front of the quad. It's actually only going to that point there because that mounts to your front nylon section. Then we have our arms. They are all identical. if we take a look at them, so there's no difference, which is good, which means when you buy spares, you just buy one and that'll do any of the 4. You can see the arms are very thick. We'll have a look at the thickness on the gauge in a second. You've got your 3-prong protectors on the end there as well, just to offer some protection for your motors. Now, if we take a look at the thickness of the parts, my battery is going flat in my vernier, but we'll work our way through it. If we take a look at the arms, 6.25 millimeters. Let's just check another one. Yeah, 6.14, so 6 mil carbon on the arms. On the bottom plate, we have 2.74 mil. The mid plate, 2.1 mil, 2 mil. And then on the top plate, 2 mil as well. You then also have this little piece here, which is included with the kit. This is what holds the arms together in the center. But what's quite unusual about this is it has this foam piece between the 2 pieces of carbon fiber. And this is designed to offer, I think, some additional stability, but also vibration isolation between the plates, although the arms mount there as well, so I'm not really sure how that works. It's really, more than anything, I think, designed to offer additional stability because this compresses down between the plates, holding everything in place. Now, one of the nice, interesting features about this frame is the fact that it's not only simple to put together, but it's also very easy to work on in the field. For instance, if we take a look at the arms, there is a single screw mount on the arms that holds them in place. You do have that open bit there, but that doesn't fix. So the way it actually works, to show you very briefly on the bench, what you have is your base plate there. You have this section, which goes in the middle there with a screw through the middle, and then your arms lock into that like that, all the way around, just like that. And then you have your mid plate that goes on top like that. What that means is you're sandwiching the arms between the top and the bottom plates. You've got the rigidity of the screw going through here, which is here, 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 here. And you can see that on the end there. And then you've got this piece here, which is just a little bit thicker, but that compresses down to just lock it all in place when you assemble the frame. Now, as for the assembly of this frame, I'm not going to do it in this video. As I've said, I already have one I baked earlier, and we'll take a look at that in a second, but I will share with you some basic thoughts. Overall, it's not particularly difficult. The setup is basically what you see here. So you have your bottom plate, you have your arms, you have this section, and then you have this plate. It is worth noting, this plate with the recessed holes on this side is designed to go that way around there. You need to put in your screws for your stack mounting before you mount this onto the frame. You need to decide whether you want to go 20 by 20 or 30 by 30. You've got that located there. And then you simply bolt that section together. There's a bolt that goes through the middle. There's a bolt that goes through all of those things there. But before you do that, you are going to want to install the press nuts. They do include them in the kit here. So if I just show you this bag, there's a bunch of press nuts located in there. All I did to install these was really simple. I just took one out. So if we grab one, took a screw that we can use. Doesn't matter which screw. You can use any of the screws you want. You want to put the press nuts in there, and the center. The press nuts do not go around the stack area. They go around for the arms. So for instance, it's that one there. I'm then simply going to pop the screw in, and then all I did was get it tightened down first of all right to the bottom. So it's just as easy to do it like that there. Get it to the point of where it starts to bite in, just like that. And then you just want to slowly tighten it down and pull it in as far as you can. It will pull in once you actually tighten the arms and everything up as well. But you want to do that for all four of the corners, like I've shown here. Just get that one out so I can show you. So that one, that one, that one, and that one. And you also need one in the middle there as well. Once you've done that, as I mentioned already, make sure you've got your stack screws in the position you want. Assemble the frame so it goes together just like that. Then once you've done that, it's simply a case of mounting that onto there, putting all the screws through, 4 and the one in the center, and then you simply have your cage which goes on at the front, so that simply mounts onto there like that. When you get all of the arms and everything in place correctly, it fits nicely, and then you just start the assembly putting the screws in. Now, they do have a full set of instructions on the website for doing this. You can click on this via their website, and again, fairly simple and straightforward. Okay, now just showing you the frame together at this point here. You can see I've gone with a 30 by 30 on the mounting pattern. We've got our standoffs at the back, our front nylon piece mounted, and everything is locked together nicely. Now, as for VTX compatibility on this frame, you've got a number of options. So it will take an 03 ear unit in the back, goes in, there's a little bit of space there. This is the extended 200mm cable. It will go in fine with the standard cable though, and then your camera would go up front there, although it is worth noting that you're going to need to put the camera in before mounting this to the frame, because you're not going to get it in through the back or via the front. With regards to other VTX options, you can very just fit in the Caddx Moonlight, and when I say very just, I mean, it literally goes in between the standoffs. And again, the situation would be the same with the camera up front. If you wanted to install a Caddx Vista, you'd have no problem with that in the back either, because it's basically the same size as 03. And then if we talk about the other Avatar ear units, such as the V1 and the V2 will go in the back absolutely fine. Let me just get it the right way round. And that would also mean you should be able to get the HD0 VTX in as well. Okay, so now the frame's together, we will check the weight. Now, I'm going to do the weight as bare bones as it is here. I'm not going to put any of the TPU pieces on. This is the lightest setup that you can get with it like this. Obviously, anything you add is going to add a bit more weight, and that is coming in at 146 grams. Now, as I have said, this is quite a tight and compact frame. With regards to the stack height you have available, let me just reset my vernier. I really do need to get a new battery for this. The height between the plates is 19.62. However, you're not going to have 19.62 because there is a nut there as well. So what you're actually going to have is, to the very top, 17 mil. To the top of the thread, 14.45 mil. So you are going to have to choose your stack height carefully. Now, alongside the nylon Kevlar battery straps that I showed you earlier, you do have some other accessories. So we have the TPU inserts for the camera mount at the front. So these simply slot into the side of the frame there, and that allows you to have a single mount, or there is a dual mount in here for the likes of DJI as well. There is also an antenna mount for the back. It is a single mount. I didn't pop it on mine. It is 3D printed, but that is included with the kit as well. And then in the other bag, we have the molded parts. So you've got your traditional protectors to go on the bottom of the arms, your feet. And then we've got these plastic molded wire protectors. Now, these just push in and slide over the arms like that. The idea is to offer protection for your wires, obviously in the event of a prop strike, but that simply pops over the top like that. They simply push on. There's no clips or nothing. They simply just hold in place like that. Now, alongside their frames, It's FPV also have their own range of motors designed in partnership with T-Motor. Now, they have two sizes available. They're both 1750 kV, but you've got a 2306.5 and a 2208. Now, they are very similar sizes. However, they are going to offer slightly different performance. Both motors are 1750 kV. Both motors are a uni-bell design. Both have titanium shafts, 12N 14P magnets, and overall, they're a nice, high-quality motor. The real big difference between these is what you're going designed to do. So for instance, you've got the 2306.5, which has a shorter but wider stator, and then you've got the 2208, which is a taller and narrower stator. Really, the rule I always go with on motors like this is this. The 2208 is going to give you a bit more torque and is designed for slightly bigger props, heavier rigs. This is really designed for 5 to 6 inch props, weight of a quad, probably 600 to 900 grams, something in that region there. Whereas your 2306.5 is going to probably rev up a little bit quicker, but it's not quite designed for as much weight, 500 to say 700 grams, something along those lines there. What I would say is, if you're going to build a quad that's designed to carry one of the bigger action cameras, I'd go with a 2208, whereas if you're going to build the quad, not worry about carrying an action camera using something like DJI 3, I'd probably go with the 2306.5. Now, as you can see, the build is complete, and at this point, I have actually flown it quite a few times. In fact, I've flown it quite a few times and crashed it quite a few times. I had a bit of an off in the field, which I ran out of skill on, and I broke an antenna, hence the reason it looks a bit butchered. I've had a second one on, and I've had to sort of make it fit there. It was a lot tidier the first time, and I didn't end up taking the video for that. I ended up crashing it, bending up some props. Second time, I had a random Express LRS failsafe. Yes, it does happen. It was probably my own fault, but it ended up falling out of the sky into some tall trees. Well, this is a bit unfortunate. My quad is somewhere in that tree. If I just zoom in, I've got turtle mode on. There it is. It's right up there. I proceeded then to spend 2 hours trying to find a way of getting it out the trees. Luckily, it didn't throw the battery. The sticky battery pad did its job, so I was able to turtle mode it. As you can see, I've beat up the props in doing that, but I was able to get it to fall out the trees. And then I ended up having to crawl through a load of brambles and bushes to try and find it, but I did manage to recover the quad. Now, for this build, rather than go Betaflight, I chose something a little bit different. In here is the FetTech Alpha flight controller. We're running the FetTech firmware. I'm actually running one of their new alphas or betas, not sure which one it is, and it flies really, really well out the box. I'm really impressed with how it is, actually, compared to how it was when I tried it some time ago. It's also running one of FetTech's ESCs. Can't say much more about that other than that, but there's some really interesting stuff there as well. And I chose to go with the Avatar HD system. So we've got the Avatar HD camera up front, and then we've got the version 2 VTX at the back with the single antenna. Now, I really do like short quads. It flies really well. I'll talk about that a bit more at the end of the video. The only thing I will say, though, is it is a tight build. There is not a lot of space in here. I end up having the Express LRS receiver at the back. I ended up putting the capacitor at the front behind the camera on wires because I just struggled to get it in. There really isn't a lot of space in there. However, if you want to build yourself a nice compact craft, this is definitely worth a look. Alongside the frame itself, they also have a number of different action camera mounts. You can see on here, I've got the DJI Action 2 mount. Now, the fitting on top of this is a single screw design. It is at a fixed 20-degree angle, but you can buy different mounts with different angles built in as well. So we've got one here for the smaller GoPro as well, one here for a standard GoPro as well, and they're available in 10 to 30-degree mounts looking at the website, depending on what option you want. Now, as I've said, what's nice about these mounts is they do have a single screw fitment. You would just unscrew that, pop the mount off, and then you can pop in any of the others that you want. You've got the smaller GoPro here, which is available, and it's also got this nice clip-off section on the front here. This one is a little bit tighter than the other one. There you go. So you can see that clips open to help you fit the camera on or change your ND filters. And you've got the same here on the full size one as well. You can clip it forward, slide the camera in, lock it up, and that way that's going to hold it in place. Overall, the prints on these are actually very, very nice. I don't know what printers they're using, but they do look very clean. No complaints at all. They are printed vertically. You can see that on both of them. You've got the textured finish on the bottom there, and then obviously I've got the DJI Action 2 mount fitted here. Okay, now just to share with you some thoughts. Now, I've put a bit of flight time on this, not as much as I would have liked, but overall I have zero complaints. In fact, I really, really like this frame. What I like about it is the fact that it isn't a massively long frame. There's been a trend with the release of DJI 3 to have bigger frames that have plenty of space for that digital FPV ear unit. Not just longer though, much taller and wider, whereas this is a much more compact frame. It certainly isn't roomy, but it has enough space to get a digital FPV VTX on board. You can get an O3 on it, you can get Avatar Moonlight, or the standard VTXs like I show here as well. You can fly it with an action camera, but you can also use it with, say, O3 on its own if you wanted to, although it is worth me stating that there is some props in view. Isn't terrible, but it is going to come into view if you were wanting to use the footage for filming. However, most people are going to want to use this with that action camera mount, and I think they've done a really nice job of putting together a package that just ticks a lot of boxes. It's very easy to put together, it's solid, it flies well, it's got decent mounting options. What is there not to like? As I've said, it is a little bit tight, but other than that, it is absolutely really good. Now, price-wise, the Era 5-inch frame kit is available for £87 in the UK or $111 US. That is obviously the frame kit as you saw it here today. That doesn't include the motors in that price. They are available separately. And if you just take a look on the website, they show you some really nice images. Yes, there are proper photos here, no renders to be seen. Actual photos of the product itself. We have images showing the different camera mounts. They also show the different 3D printed options that are available. So these are the mounts, the action mount, the GoPro 11 mini mount, as well as the full-size GoPro mount are available there too. If you scroll down, they've got the assembly guide, which you can click on, and they have some build suggestions as well on rotor builds. You can go over here, and this is done by It's Ken FPV. They give you various pieces of information showing you the actual production process of the frame, the work that has gone into designing this frame, the selection of motors, the flight control choice, and everything that they personally recommend on this frame as well. What's also nice on this is if you go onto the website, you do have all of the spare parts available too, and they even have a link to some of the downloads if you want them as well. So if you want to be able to print a part out, for instance, I ended up having to reprint this because I damaged mine in my initial crash. You just click on it and they have the print available here as well. So you can buy it as a spare, but if you've got your own 3D printer, you can go and download it too. Now, as I showed earlier in the video, we also have their customized T-Motor motors. We have them available for $27. That's either for the 2306.5s or the 2208s, both in 1750 kV. Now, before we wrap this one up, I just want to say one last thing on this quad frame. Earlier on, I said I have no complaints, but I think I'm actually being a little unfair there. Genuinely now, I think this might be my favorite 5-inch frame, period. And the reason I say that is I like compact frames. It's got just enough space to get everything on board. You've got the action camera mounts, which are nicely done. It's a Quad X format. Yes, you've got some prop in view, but it isn't too much. It flies really well. Nice thick arms. It feels nice and solid. And for me, they seem to have just ticked every box that I'm looking for in a 5-inch frame. Yes, I have tested a load of frames, and there are some amazing frames out there. The Mario 5 from Speedy Bee is a very good value frame. Chris Ross's AOS 5s are fantastic frames as well. But from my personal preference point of view, I think this is as close to being the perfect 5-inch quad frame that I have ever tested. And I'm going to be flying it a lot more. In fact, I'm going to be doing a second build because, as I showed earlier, they did send me 2. I'm probably going to do that in a live stream. There's more stuff I need to build on that because I'm doing some testing on some new stuff on this frame, and I'm going to be doing that as well. So if you want to see that, please do make sure you are subscribed. But genuinely, I think this is a very, very nice piece of kit. Now, I want to say a massive thank you to the guys over at It's FPV for sending these over. As I've said, if you're interested in getting them, there will be links to them in the description. They're not affiliate links, but they did send these frames over to me for free. However, genuinely, that hasn't swayed my opinion. I just think they're very, very nice. I'm really interested in knowing what you think as well. You're going to see more content on these frames in the future. If you're interested in seeing that, please do make sure you are subscribed. If you'd also like to support the channel to allow me to keep making content in the future, please also consider checking out the link to my Patreon as well as Buy Me a Coffee. I want to say a huge thank you to all of my Patreons. We would not be able to keep doing this without your support. Anyway, that's it from me on this one. Stay safe. I will speak to you soon.